If coffee is your solution to tiredness, but you still feel tired, coffee may be part of the problem. Here's the uncomfortable question. What if the thing you're using to get through the day is quietly making tomorrow harder? In a previous episode, The 7 Hidden Powers of Coffee, we talked about the good side of coffee. And that still stands. Coffee isn't just caffeine, it's a plant brew loaded with chemistry. We talked about more than 1,000 compounds in coffee, and roughly 900 plus are still not fully mapped or understood. That's the part of why coffee can feel so different from person to person and from culture to culture. Yes, in moderation, coffee can sharpen focus, lift mood, and a big population study shows the sweet spot often clusters around 2 to 4 cups a day, not 10, not all day, 2 to 4, and preferably earlier in the day. The benefits do not climb forever. They peak, flatten, and then for some people, they quickly or quietly reverse. But coffee has a line, and many people cross it without realizing. Here's how it usually happens. You wake up a little foggy, coffee helps. Mid afternoon slump, another coffee. Evening fatigue, just one more to get through. You still fall asleep, so you assume you're fine. Being able to fall asleep doesn't mean caffeine isn't harming your sleep. It often steals depth, not the start, but your sleep becomes lighter, more fragmented. You don't wake up refreshed, so the next day you need more coffee. That's the fatigue loop. Coffee fixing the tiredness that coffee quietly helped to create. A quick reality check. A cup isn't a unit. A cafe mug can easily be 2 or 3 cups at home. Some cafe coffees carry the caffeine of 2 or 3 simple home cups. So people often overdose by accident without realizing it. And if you think you're on 4, you may be already on 6. But rather than counting cups, listen to the signals. You're probably past your personal line if coffee no longer gives clarity. It just stops the crash. You feel wired but not energized. Your sleep is shallow even if you fall asleep easily. That's not weakness, that's biology. Caffeine lasts longer than most people realize, even hours after your last cup. It still nudges in your nervous system. So, actually, depending on who you are, caffeine's half life can be 6 hours or even 8 hours. So, that gentle nudge becomes a shove. Restlessness, the faster your pulse, the shorter fuse, reflux, that edgy on feeling you can't switch off. Some people say, I drink 7 or 8 cups and I'm fine. I'm fine. Maybe, but fine often means adapted, not unaffected. Tolerance masks symptoms, it doesn't erase the cost. And if the only way you can get through the day is more caffeine, that's not energy, that's compensation. Now, about the extremes. Medicine does occasionally see people treat caffeine like a sport. Pills, powders, huge volumes late into the night. Those rare cases can end in panic states, heart rhythm trouble, even ICU admissions. They're not everyday coffee drinkers, but they mark the outer fence. They remind us caffeine isn't harmless just because it's familiar. There are also groups with a narrower safety margin. Pregnancy, reflux, anxiety, certain medications, and some people do metabolize caffeine slowly, so the same cup lingers much longer. For them, normal amounts feel excessive. None of these makes coffee bad. Coffee is more than caffeine. It's culture. It's cafes and kitchens, conversations and pauses in the day. In some places, it's a tiny espresso after a meal. In others, it's a big mug that quietly turns into a refill habit. Same ritual, very different dose. But pleasure only stays pleasurable when it stays in the lane. Here's the grounded take home message. For most people, 2 to 4 a day, mostly before early afternoon, is a comfortable zone. If you're regular on 6 or more, try a simple experiment. Don't quit. Just move your last cup earlier or replace the last cup with a decaf for a week. See what happens to your sleep, your calm, your focus. Coffee doesn't need to be maximized to be meaningful. It's not a contest, it's a craft. And like anything worth enjoying, it works better with restraint.